All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Plays here. I am back with some more YouTube content for you guys for 2026. I'm recording this on the 29th. I'm going to make sure I post consistently in 2026. Today, we're checking out an 8K OLED VR headset, a gaming headset, clearly. 8K OLED VR headset will blow your mind. 8K is unnecessary, but let's see what he's talking about. Before we get into it, comment, like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Socials in the description. Let's get into it. Of course, the full gaming setup. The car racing ones. To interrupt, you have like these curved chair setups. Hold on, let me just pull up an image real quick. It's kind of like, yeah, these. I'm not sure what they're called, but this is exactly what I was looking for. I'm definitely going to get one of these in the future. There should be a proper name for it, though. Gaming chair with drop-down monitor. Alright, I guess that's what I would have to type to figure that out. These probably cost like... Let me see what Amazon is saying. How much is it for one? Okay, there's no price. There's no price. Alright, but you know, even with my current hardware, my Steam Deck, my TV in my room, I could and would even use those things attached to that chair. The chair is just for comfort. And I don't think I even have space in my room for that, but it's nice to look at. Alright, let me stop rambling now and get back to it.
This is the VR headset that I've been using with my OVERKILL racing sim, the Big Screen Beyond 2. It's OLED, has extremely clear lenses, weighs...
I think Linus did a video on this.
So far, it's the best one that I've tested. But today, we're gonna see if that changes. Pimax just sent me their latest modules for the Crystal Super. This is a VR headset where you can actually swap out the entire optical assembly, the display and everything, and just upgrade to ones with different specs. And the two that I have today, I've been really looking forward to. One is an ultra-wide module with what would be the widest FOV I've ever tested, and the other one is an OLED with pancake lenses. Now, if there's one thing that I've learned testing out all of these different VR headsets is that the specs really tell you like 50% of the story, if that. Things like resolution and refresh rate, the main specs of a gaming monitor, for example. They're important here, but they're not nearly as important as the optics and the lens quality. Things like the focus sweet spot, how much of the display you can clearly see. And then as you get towards those outer edges, things like color fringing and distortion, those are still a very big part of the conversation, even...
You know which game would look amazing in this? Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, of course, but Breath of the Wild first. And now that I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, why have I never watched any videos on YouTube with Breath of the Wild VR gameplay? I need to look at that when I'm done.
This is also why I've stuck with the Big Screen Beyond 2 as my main VR headset. Despite the spec sheet not being as impressive as the Crystal Super QLED, it does have just some amazingly clear pancake lenses and also some really vibrant OLED panels sitting behind them. It just makes for an unbelievably clear and rich visual experience. So what does that mean for these new modules? Now, the first one here is the ultra-wide module. Still a 3840 by 3840 QLED display per eye that can run up to 90 Hz, just insane specs, but this one stretches the field of view up to 140 degrees horizontally. An increase in FOV has been one of the biggest things that I've been looking forward to. A lot of VR headsets still give you the feeling that you're looking through a pair of goggles, but hopefully not this one.
One thing I will say though, I do like the little light strip at the front. Kind of gives it this futuristic high-end look, which I mean, it's clearly high-end.
And the second module
but,
is
yeah,
actually
it just looks
an
nice.
OLED. This one uses tiny micro OLED displays from Sony behind concave pancake lenses. So similar to the Big Screen Beyond, but that's about as far as the similarities go. This one has twice the amount of pixels and a higher refresh rate. And
that's definitely higher than 4K, because 4K is 3840 times 2160. Well, it does say
Higher
8K,
cleaned
so
FOV.
I guess I'm not
Swapping in one of the
surprised.
new modules is actually insanely easy. There are 2 plastic retention clips that you can pull back, and you can literally just hot swap to a completely different display and set of lenses, and that's it. Load up the
Hmm. I love that satisfying click that it did. You can see the notches click into place. It's really Nintendo Switchy with the locking
software,
mechanism.
do
Why am I
the
even talking
software
about
updates,
this?
change the LED stripe on the front to whatever you want, and you're back to gaming as usual. Now let's start with
There
the
it is.
ultra-wide module, because this is the one that I was most interested to try. All of the VR headsets that I've tried pretty much so far have been a 100 to 110 FOV, where you can actually still see the interior edges of the headset itself. I've been really waiting to try something that just opens that FOV right up and gives a super immersive, just natural field of view. The moment I put this on, I immediately noticed the difference. Were the interior black edges completely gone? No. Not even close, you can still see them, but at the same time, this is significantly wider than anything else I've tested, and you notice it right away. Everything feels more open, you can see more of the car interior, and the wider FOV did feel more natural like I was hoping. Things like feeling the car dive under heavy braking, which was not a difference I was expecting, but yeah, you can just see those more obvious balance shifts of the cabin and just notice what the car is doing a bit more. At the same time, I'm not sure how much of that extra field of view I would say is like super usable. It's definitely extra screen there, but it does get a bit soft and fringy towards those edges, which is a bit of a shame. For me, this is better than the QLED module I had tested previously in the Crystal Super, but it does still feel like a downgrade compared to my big screen Beyond 2. Specifically, the visuals, the image quality, the colors, things just look a little bit more unnatural and washed out here, and you are reminded that you are playing a game. So what does that mean for this right here, Pimax's new OLED module? Well, compared to the big screen Beyond, it's heavier, it's larger, some would argue it's way more uncomfortable, and it's
Yeah, I imagine looking at that ensemble, it's very heavy. Also, his studio is really nice. Not that I haven't seen studios like it before. I think Dave 2D's studio is similar. It's not as dark, but
also twice as
I love the studio
expensive,
setup.
believe it or not. But man, I gotta say, in terms of raw image quality, I have never seen anything like this. This is the best looking VR headset that I've ever seen. It's
You know, as I'm looking at this too, the interior of the car, I can see how high density the resolution is, high fidelity, high pixel count. I didn't use the right word there. I can see it. I can see the 8K, even though I think humans can't really see beyond 4K, but maybe I'm wrong. The point is, I can see how high the resolution is. That's essentially
the
what I'm
closest
saying.
thing that I've
It
seen to
shows.
putting on a headset and not feeling like you're looking through a pair of lenses. The big screen 2 gave me this feeling as well, but it's even more apparent here. I mean, you put this thing on and it's immediately clear. It's so clear that you can almost wear it incorrectly and it's still fine. The focus sweet spot is massive. I'd say the middle 70 to 80% or so for me looks extremely crisp, and then off to the edges, yeah, there's some minimal color fringing, softness, distortion.
QLED versus, I think I prefer the micro OLED. The ultra wide QLED seems to have a bit of a green tint to it. Still high resolution. It's just that the micro OLED looks more color wise accurate to real life. But I imagine the ultra wide is nice for the FOV views, like he was saying
we're
earlier.
a long way from complete edge-to-edge clarity, but so far this is the closest thing that I've seen to that. One of the biggest things that I noticed between this and the big screen Beyond 2 is the resolution, just the sheer pixel count difference between these two headsets. Now, I'm not able to get any through the lens recordings of that headset because the lenses are like this big and it just doesn't look realistic, but hopefully you can see what I mean here, at least with the Crystal Super OLED. 4K per eye was not something that I could fully appreciate before on their QLED modules, but on this OLED, it almost gives you retina level detail, the point where
Also, I'm wondering how hot does the actual like VR computing module get? Is there a cooling system? But then again, there was no, I don't think there's a cooling system because there's no like power or anything it's connected to.
you can't see
Maybe they
individual
run cool, I don't
pixels.
know.
So all those super fine details and textures,
I see
they just
it.
look
I see the
unbelievable
quality.
on this headset. I found myself just trying a bunch of
Yeah.
different cars, downloading new mods, and just inspecting the cabin in disbelief. I mean, just the steering wheels, the small scratches and imperfections on some of the gauge clusters, just the mental sharpness and detail. I've never
The
seen
texture
anything like
work,
this.
yeah.
And then when you're actually driving as well, you notice a big difference there too. Ground shadows on the track, for example, distant fence lines, edges of car models. These things always appear a little bit shimmery on other headsets, but here everything is resolved very smoothly. But yeah, 8K OLED in VR is as insane as it sounds. And then there are the colors, which remind me a lot of the big screen Beyond. Again, it's just the difference here of OLED versus QLED. There is a monstrous difference. Much more vibrant, richer, more natural colors here. The game world truly comes to life. I'm mostly playing modded Assetto.
I'm very impressed with the texture work. I'm not seeing any like low quality textures. It looks so good. Even looking at the treading on the wheels, the texturing of the interior, the cabin, like he said earlier.
Lots of different
Beautiful.
weather and graphics mods, and I have to say, with this headset, these are easily some of the best PC graphics that I've ever seen. And again, this isn't just because of the OLED and the resolution, it's primarily because of Pimax's new lens design that makes everything so clear. Also, because of the concave structure, you can get your eyes really close to them, and for me, the optics improve even more by doing that. But yeah, these are the most comfortable set of lenses that I've ever looked through on a VR headset. Refresh rate is also something that I noticed coming from the big screen.
Also, I just realized there's an entire mask covering the face to block out any light that might bleed from like spaces that your face isn't completely covered by. I like that. So complete darkness. Because some VR headsets, there might be a gap where there's a space where light from the outside would shine out. That's completely eliminated with this black mask cover thingy. So I just noticed that. That's really good.
I was running the Beyond 2 at 72 Hz. It does have a 90 Hz mode, but it does have to drop the resolution to enable that, which for me just wasn't worth it. At 90 Hz, you can notice a lot more micro jitters and subtle car movements, steering wheel and driver animations improve as well. The road and fences passing around you look a lot smoother, and the input lag feels lower too. 90 Hz is a noticeable upgrade if you can drive that amount of frames. And that is a massive if. I've been running 100% resolution scale in Steam VR, which for some reason turns out to be around 6K per eye, and it's pretty rough. In modded Assetto Corsa,
wow, that's crazy.
Around 70 FPS with a 5090, and if I turn on heavy weather settings, making the game look insane and incredible, it actually drops down to like 50 frames per second. The FOV as well is a touch wider than
on a 5090, that's crazy. That's the highest end GPU there is.
It does feel like you're looking through a bigger pair of lenses, nothing compared to their ultra-wide module, but for some reason, I just didn't really care that much. I had the same feeling on the big screen Beyond 2. I think it's down to the clearer lenses giving you more usable FOV, since there's a lot more in focus. Now, there are some drawbacks. It is a very expensive VR headset, twice the price of a big screen Beyond 2, and also factor in that you need a very beefy GPU to run this thing. Anything less than a 5080, I don't think you're getting the full performance out of this headset.
And see, that's the thing. This is something I'd get when I have a lot of money. So Steam Frame all the way, because at least I'd be able to play native racing games on this and still have a great time. So Steam Frame all the way.
I know I'm running fully modded Assetto Corsa, but still, that thing is struggling. And then there's the size and the weight. This thing is bulky AF, but I would say for a stationary sim, it's actually quite comfortable. This top strap and this rear clamp actually work incredibly well. I did a couple really long sessions in this thing, 5 or 6 hours, and I didn't feel any pain, any discomfort. I got the occasional like pressure marks on my cheeks that go away within like 20 minutes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I will also note the lens perimeter does stick out quite a bit. It can tend to hit you on your nose, so just tighten up the top strap.
Poke your eye.
Seem to solve that issue.
Yeah.
There are a few other really cool things about
kind of
the
raised to the eye.
I mentioned in my initial video with it. The inside-out tracking, for example, is super cool. It's really nice not having to.
You know, look at the. I'm bringing up the what did I call it again? I'm bringing up his studio. Yes, I'm bringing up his studio again. Recording equipment and all of that, blah, blah, blah. But look at how zen. It's a great environment with the lights. Look at how zen this is. This almost feels like if heaven had a gaming room. It just looks so peaceful and zen. Like you wait here while in purgatory, waiting to decide if you go to heaven or the other. You know what, let me stop.
The built-in speakers are also extremely good. I've been using them at like 60% volume, which is plenty. And the fact that you could potentially see more upgrades down the road and just swap in a new module, that's pretty neat as well. I know Pimax are also working on the Dream Air and Air SE, much smaller, lighter headsets, one of which looks like it has the same display and optics.
Very Vision Pro looking.
Here, so that will be interesting. There is also the Steam Frame, which was just announced, but I think that's looking more like a...
Yes, I was just talking about that.
Rather than a Pimax or big screen competitor. It's an LCD module that's much lower resolution. Even if that thing has the best lenses in the world, I don't think it's going to really come close to these. For a VR simulator right now though, the Pimax Crystal Super OLED is at the top of the food chain, and I don't think it's by a small amount either.
Oh, that was such an abrupt ending. Alright, yeah, guys, that was it. That was my reaction to the 8K OLED VR headset, the Pimax. I cannot believe that. Even the 5090 couldn't handle 60. That's insane. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. See y'all in the next one. 2026, we're taking over non-stop grind. Goodbye.